I'm a survivor.
Who wants to murder trillions.
With all 6 stones, I could simply snap my fingers. They would all cease to exist. I call that mercy.
What if the most dangerous people in history weren't the ones who wanted to destroy the world? What if they were the ones who genuinely believed that they were saving it? That's what makes Thanos different from almost every villain we've ever seen. He wasn't driven by rage. He wasn't trying to rule the universe. He wasn't trying to watch everything burn. He thought he was fixing a problem. And the scariest part? Millions of people watched Infinity War and walked away thinking, you know, he kinda got a point. But why? Why are we able to understand someone who commits one of the most horrific acts imaginable, and what does that say about us? Most villains know that they're villains. They crave power, they want control, they enjoy causing pain. But Thanos is different. Thanos sees himself as a necessary evil, and that's what makes him terrifying, because throughout history, some of the most destructive people weren't motivated by pure hatred. They were motivated by certainty, the belief that they were right. Thanos looked at the universe and saw suffering. He saw civilizations collapsing, he saw resources disappearing, and he came to one conclusion. There are too many people. Now, his solution? Fucking horrifying. But in his mind, it was logical. Once someone believes that their goal is morally superior, almost anything can become justified. Now, the reason people sympathize with Thanos isn't because they agree with genocide. It's because they recognize something human in him. We've all experienced moments where we looked at the world and think, something's wrong. Maybe it's inequality, maybe it's corruption, maybe it's people making choices that seem obviously harmful. And that feeling creates frustration, because when you believe you understand the problem, the next temptation is believing you understand the solution. That's where Thanos crosses the line. He doesn't just believe the universe has a problem, he believes he's the only one capable of fixing it. And that's where his idealism becomes dangerous, because the difference between a hero and a villain is often not the desire to create change, but it's whether they believe they're allowed to decide the cost. This is why Thanos actually has more in common with characters like Walter White than people realize. At first glance, you're probably thinking, what the fuck does Walter White have to do with Thanos? But psychologically, they're almost identical. Both believe that they're responding to a world that felt them. Walter believes nobody respected him, so he created his own empire. Thanos believes nobody else has the courage to make the impossible decision, so he becomes the person who decides everyone's fate. Different motivations, but same psychology. The most frightening thing about Thanos isn't his strength, it's his fucking confidence. This motherfucker never doubts himself, he never questions whether he's the villain, and humans are drawn to that kind of certainty because uncertainty is uncomfortable. A person who says, I have the answer can be incredibly convincing, especially when they're pointing out a real problem. That's why dangerous ideas don't usually begin with something obviously evil. They begin with something people recognize, a real frustration, a real fear, a real problem. Look, the reason Thanos is still relevant isn't because of population, it's because of human nature. We live in a world where everyone has information, everyone has opinions, everyone believes that they understand what's wrong, and the easiest thing in the world is to believe, if everyone just listened to me, things would be better. That thought is normal, but taken too far, it's the exact mindset that creates people like Thanos. The belief that your vision of a better world matters more than everyone else's freedom. Now, the reason Thanos is such a fascinating villain isn't because he's completely wrong. It's because he's almost understandable. And that's what makes him scary. The most dangerous people aren't always the ones who want chaos. Sometimes they're the ones who want order so badly that they're willing to destroy anything standing in their way. Thanos isn't terrifying because he's an alien with a magic glove. He's terrifying because he represents something very human. The belief that doing something terrible is acceptable, as long as you believe the outcome will be good. And maybe the scariest question isn't, could someone like Thanos exist? Maybe the scarier question is, how many people would follow him if he did?